Hi guys, this is JP from FSiPanel. On that video, we will fly a training scenario designed by Captain Blackbox. Initially, it was done on the Fenix A320 and now it's available as well on the PMDG 737 as well as the Maddog MD82. So let's see what Captain Blackbox has cooked for us. It's a low visibility training in Frankfurt, Germany. So before I forget, please subscribe to the channel. That will give me more strength to do all future video. Thank you very much. All right, let's jump in the cockpit. I just loaded the 737-800 PMDG on runway 25 left in Frankfurt. And we are going to start FSiPanel right there. And we can see that Frankfurt is detected 25 left, and as well my 737 has been detected. I have already set on the scenario a push to talk button. For me, it's on my joystick, the button number 6, and I'm ready to go. So I will go to training scenarios, and this is the last one here, EDDF LVO scenario. If you click on instruction note, you will see all the instruction note done by Captain Blackbox. Very nice. I will not read everything, but I will let you have a look later on. Basically, you have good information about the holding that you will have to follow. This is as well available for you on the star. It's forward to Bravo star. We will see that in a minute. We have the initial clearance that will be given to us. The weather, as you can see, for runway 25 left, we have 270 at 8 knots. So light wind, typical low visibility conditions. Overcast at 100 feet with 200 meters. We have 5 over 5. So that's why we have the fog. QNH is 1020. And temporary, that's a good thing for us. The visibility might improve to 500 meters. So that's probably because of the scenario. So let's keep that in mind. Procedure, we start flight simulators. That's done at 25 left. The aircraft is powered. We start FSiPanel and we select the scenario. And as always, do not interfere with the cockpit setup until you get the first ATC clearance. And then basically we have further information and we will check that together live. So let's go ahead and go in the cockpit and I will start the scenario. So click on start training, and now we are waiting for FSiPanel to do the job. So let's have a look at the passenger view, maybe what they will see during that positioning. Very nice. I will just acknowledge the ATC. Frequency change approved. Yes. And now basically you can watch your aircraft from outside from any place you want. The only thing you have to keep in mind, do not interfere with FSiPanel. See the gears going up. So FSiPanel is basically setting up everything for us. And during that time, just wait, enjoy the view. And once the aircraft is ready, you will get the message that the aircraft is ready. So if we have a look again from the right window, not much, it's covered, overcast, so we don't see too much of a landscape there. All right, back in the cockpit now, we are reaching for 140. It's a flight level as transition altitude is 5,000 feet. And transition level today is 60. So now we are going down to flight level 140. And as soon as we capture this altitude, then FSiPanel will tell us that we are ready to start the training scenario. Everything is set. I see we have a routing. We have everything set. We have the minimum, which is set already. So we will see now what we can do. All right, scenario instruction, please check your cockpit as per the lesson plan. When ready, hold your brake for 2 seconds to take control. Okay, good. So we are ready. Let's go ahead. I hit my brake and let's see what Captain Blackbox has done for us. Here we go. You have control. So Blackbox711, fly direct to Speza. That's what we have in front of us. So I'll make sure we are in heading. So make sure to press LNAV. And enter the hold. Descend flight level 110. Okay, so we need to descend to flight level 110. Let's go 110 in vertical speed. And we will put 1,200. That's good enough. All right, so descend 110 to Speza and hold. Okay, we need to enter the holding. So let's have a look at this holding. You find it on the star in the forward to Bravo that we are cleared as per the flight plan. So you can see that Speza is 284 with right turn. So let's do that in the FMC. So for that, you just go Alt page, take Spesa, put it on top, and we said it's 284 with right turn. Perfect. Execute. Now you see that speed target of 221 knots. This is VREF 40 plus 80 at that altitude. So if I go to VREF 40, I have 141 plus 80, that's my 221 that I can see as the holding speed at Spesa. All right, so we are approaching the holding. Always a good idea here to set the landing lights so other traffic can see you. And now we are flying very fast, as you can see. So now if I press VNAV, then the FMC will retard and will reduce the speed to 221 knots, which is the holding speed that has been computed. So that's a good idea to do, reduce your speed. This is to save fuel and as well to reduce your radius. Otherwise, you'll be turning all the way up to the runway. All right, so we are approaching the holding and we will need to prepare a Cat 3 approach, I guess. Here we go. Blackbox711, reduce holding speed. Yes, that's what we are doing. And Frankfurt has low visibility operation. Expect ILS Cat 3. Runway 25 left. RVR values currently 125, 125, 125. All right, so acknowledge. Now the RVR for the 737 are not good enough. So that's not good at all. I didn't change that in the training scenario. So now in that video, I could not fly the approach because the 737 is Cat 3 Alpha. And as you can see on the chart, now Cat 3 Alpha, we need an RVR of 200 meters. So now we will have an issue. Either we hold for a long time and we hope that the weather improves as we have a temporary weather improve. So that's what I will simulate with you today, that during the holding, the weather will improve and then we'll be able to fly a Cat 3 Alpha. If the weather is persisting, then we might have to divert. All right, we are in the holding. It's a good time to prepare the approach. So as the approach plate is right there, we can have a look together at this approach plate starting from the top left. We can see the frequency 111.15. So we check right down there on our boxes and I can see that we have 111.15 set on nav1 and nav2. Another thing you can do, you press init-ref on your FMC and you can check as well 111.15. That's to make sure you have as well programmed the right approach in your FMC. The track, inbound course 247, we check the chart 247, we check the MCP 247. That's perfect. Let key 4000, that's our initial approach fix. And then we will go for Cat 3 Alpha minimum, which is 50 feet radio altimeter. You can see that radio altimeter 50 is set. And then we go down to our minimums and the airport elevation is 364. It's a 3 degrees glide slope. Should we go around? We climb straight ahead to 5.5 miles Fox mark, then turn left to intercept radial 241 Fox mark, and then. As I always tell to my second officer or to the pilot in training, if you read that all missed approach procedure, it's very nice, but sometimes you have the feeling people are reading all this, and if you ask them 2 minutes later, can you tell me what is the go-around procedures? That's it. It's all gone. So let me just acknowledge that frequency here. Blackbox711, we just got a message. Sorry, you cannot see here. Blackbox711, when ready for the approach, contact director on 118505. Okay. So 118505, this is director. So we will program 118505. When ready. Okay. So I switch over and when ready, I will contact them. So what I was about to tell you is about the go around. The best thing to do is to remember what are my first actions. First, what altitude am I clear to climb? So if you can see on the chart now, it's 5,000 feet. So we know that we can climb to 5,000 feet. Now, what is my initial lateral instructions? Climb straight ahead to 5.5 miles. Then left turn, intercept radial 241 Frankfurt. Perfect. So what I will do now myself, in the FMC, you have the fix page. So what we can do here is take Fox Mike, which is Frankfurt, make sure the frequency match what you have on the chart, 114.2, and then we have the distance, radial and distance. So either you can put one line or you can put two lines. So if you want to put one line, you will put 5.5 miles. Sorry, the radial is 241, and we need a circle of 5.5 miles. So that's one way to do it. Or you can put 241 and slash 5.5. And now that will have exactly the same effect. So let me delete these two pages and I will show you on the screen what we have now. So if you go now to planning page, we go next page and we will move forward. This is what is interesting for us. If you look now on the screen, you can see that for my go around, I just have to climb straight ahead 5,000 until I hit my green circle, and then I will take 241, and as you can see, the green line match my go around for the FMC. So basically now I have plenty of time there to read my charts when I'm airborne. So I just have to remember 5,000 feet, 5.5, left 241. Easy, isn't it? Good. So now we have briefed our approach. We have the auto brake 2. We have the minimum. Everything is good. So we can just brief or go around, because the go around sometimes is tricky, especially on the 737, where if you lose any system that is required for an automatic landing, then you might not get the automatic go around. Therefore, you have to anticipate the fact that you will lose your autopilot. So how do we go around the 737? First of all, we push toga switch. When you push the toga switch, the thrust will move straight ahead to reduce go-around thrust. Reduce go-around thrust will give you 2,000 feet per minute rate of climb. This is computed by the FMC. If you press a second time the toga button, then you will get the full go-around thrust available. And be careful, because that aircraft is very powerful, and sometimes you are reaching your destination with low fuel like now, and an empty aircraft or an aircraft that is not very heavy, and then it's very disorientating to see a very high pitch to maintain the speed. So one hit on the toga switch is usually more than enough. Then at the same time, you can retract your flaps to 15. So basically go around, toga, flaps 15. Now one important step you can see on the line 3 here is to check your go around thrust, because if the aircraft has touched down, then the auto throttle will disconnect and you press toga, you will get the flight director, you will get the mode, but your thrust will stay in idle, and this is a disaster. One accident happened because of that. So be very careful to check go around thrust. There is no rush, just check that your thrust is increasing. If not, push it forward. Then we check that we have a positive rate of climb. Altitude is increasing and VSI is increasing. Now we know that we are getting away from the terrain. Now we can go gear up. 400 feet below, it's not gonna work. You can arm LNAV or heading depending on your go around instruction. And then passing 1,000 feet, we can clean up the aircraft. So if you stay in go around mode, you can clean up the aircraft simply by retracting your flaps. The window will remain black. So I was talking about that window will remain black, and then you can retract your flaps on schedule. And if you engage level change, or if you go out of go around mode, then the window will open. So now set flap up speed and retract your flaps on schedule. Once the flaps are up, then we will do the after takeoff checklist, and that's it. All right, so I guess we briefed everything. We are ready for the approach. So let me call 118505 director and see if we can get a clearance. Director, hello, this is Blackbox711. We are maintaining flight level 110 on Space Holding. Let's see if we get a reply there. Oh yeah. Blackbox711, identify, leave Speza heading 330 and descend level 70. Okay. 70, we are in a holding pattern, so do not descend in level change or any other mode than vertical speed 1,000 feet, because you might have traffic and sometimes we descend in stack. So be very careful to go vertical speed as long as you are in the holding. Now we can leave SPESA heading 330, so I will already preset 330. And finally, the last thing I have to do is tell my FMC that we are leaving the hold. So acknowledge, and if I go in the hold page, I can just push exit hold, and that's it. So now she expects us to resume the whole routing, but that's not what we're gonna do. So we'll just wait until SPESA, and then we will clean up the FMC. All right, approaching 10,000 feet, the lights are set already, seatbelt is on, and we have our final nav setting. So let's turn to SPESA, and then we will continue the approach. And let's see what Captain Blackbox has made for us. I'm sure a lot of surprise will be happening. And I will try to show you how you can use VNAV very easily on that aircraft. A lot of people are not comfortable with VNAV, but if you program it very well, it's a very brilliant tool. But you need to program it carefully and to make sure that what you see on your page is actually what you want to fly. So we will try that on the way to the approach, and you will see that it works quite well. All right, so SPESA, we are inbound in the holding, sorry, we have the nav setting done, and I guess we have done the briefing properly. We are ready to fly that approach. Another thing I forgot to mention is about malfunction during the approach. If you have a malfunctions below 1,000 feet, let's say it's an engine fire or smoke, then I will continue. I will say, okay, it's probably safer to land that aircraft now than going in the air and maybe the fire hits the aircraft. If you have a master caution that turns on and your first officer is telling you flight control, electrical, hydraulic, now you are already below 1,000 feet. So time is a factor and terrain is a factor. And if you decide to continue, maybe your brakes are affected. Maybe your navigation performance is affected. So you are not sure what is exactly happening, and you will need some time to look at the checklist. So in that case, most airlines will ask you to go around, go above MSA, troubleshoot what was the issue, fix it, and come back if you can. So that's just to keep in mind should we have a malfunction today on that approach. All right, we're in SPESA, so I'm going to hit heading. So now we check heading cell, and now we can clean up the box because the box is the whole arrival to Frankfurt for spacing the traffic. And we are not going to fly all this as we have been given vectors. So if we take the chart, you can see that the initial approach fix here, let key, the final approach fix, or let key, is a good point to fly to. So what you can do now is put a direct to let key. So you go Lex page, select the waypoint let key. If you press Lex page again, you go automatically back to page 1, put it on top. Now we don't want to fly direct, we want an intercept heading. The heading is the inbound course of the ILS, 247. So I'm just gonna type in 247 right down here and then execute. And now basically I have a nice extended center line. Now if we look into descent page, you can see that, let me remove the ILS. You can see that let key is the next altitude constraint at 4,000 feet. The aircraft is flying 240 knots if we go VNAV. So if I go VNAV now, Windows goes blank and the aircraft accelerates to 240 knots. Now she's telling me that she needs to descend. So ATC obviously will let us descend, I hope. And we will see how VNAV work. If you need to reduce the speed, you can either go back to altitude or vertical speed and then the window will open and you reduce your speed. Or you can push speed intervene and reduce your speed as you like. That's one way. You can see that the speed is reducing. And the other way that we have is to change it directly in the FMC. We can say, okay, I would like you now to fly 230 knots. So you can put 230 knots, execute, and now you can see my speed has been reducing to 230 knots. Perfect. All right. Blackbox711. Proceed direct to let key and descend 4,000 feet on QNH 1020. Okay. 4,000 feet. We go direct to let key. Execute. And when you have a direct, always make sure you push LNAV, otherwise the aircraft will not go. Now we have LNAV captured, and QNH is 1020. All right. Acknowledge. 1020, we can pre-select it. As you can see now on my PFD, 1020 has been pre-selected. So as soon as I will descend and I want to transition, I can do it. All right, now we are ready for descent. So what you can do here is descend with vertical speed, and then we will try VNAV. So let's see vertical speed. If I go vertical speed, you can see that now it's MCP speed, so I'm responsible of the speed again. And what will happen now if I press VNAV? You can see that now I'm on VNAV path, which means the aircraft will follow that descent path, that is a 3 degrees descent path. If you're below it, she will maintain 1,000 feet per minute until she reaches the perfect glide slope, which is the descent path for the VNAV, and then she will go idle and she will dive to 4,000 feet by let key. Now what is very interesting is that by let key we need to be 4,000 feet. You see that this cell point, this is where she wants you to add some drag. So we'll see if VNAV is doing a good job today for us. We will try to let VNAV do the whole work, and you will see that it works quite well. You can already see that my glide slope is perfectly matched with the descent. If I press approach there, I can see as well my glide slope. By the way, that's a very good thing to do if you have more than 90 degrees intercept, or if you are on vectors, because more than 90 degrees, the glide slope is not shown on the PFD. But on the standby, if you press approach, then you have a good indications there. And always descent page, now you can see that we are 346 feet lower than the 3 degrees ideal descent path, and that my rate of descent that I need right now is 930 feet. This is exactly what she's doing here. All right, we passed transition. Let's go into altimeters QNH 1020 on the 3. Let's see here. Do we have 1020? Yes. And approach checklist, altimeters set and cross-checked. And that's it. If we look at the approach checklist, it's very straightforward, just the altimeters. Good. So now we are waiting for that decel point. You see that decel point, and in the same time ATC tell us reduce speed 190 knots or less, clear Cat 3 approach runway 25 left. Acknowledge. All right, so here what I will do for demonstration purposes, I will delay a little bit the speed reduction just to show you how VNAV work. All right, we have this decel point. So now we are reaching that decel point. Look at what's happening to my speed. The speed is dropping slowly toward upspeed. So now the aircraft is basically telling you it's time to configure for landing. So I can go flaps 1. If I go flaps 1, automatically my bug goes to flaps 1. That works as long as I'm on VNAV. Now we have been clear for the approach. So we know that we need to use both autopilot. If I try to arm the second autopilot now, as you can see, nothing is happening. I get master on the first officer side, but I cannot engage the two autopilots. You can if you arm the approach. Okay? So if I arm the approach, now I can arm both autopilot and I can fly my approach. All right, let's go flaps 5. We have localizer glide slope is arm. Now I just have to mitigate a little bit because I was showing you that, and we have glide slope captured. That's good. So 5,000 feet is our missed approach altitude. Set it right away when you have your glide slope captured, and set the inbound course as well. 247. Here we go. Establish. Contact tower 119905. Okay, let's slow down the aircraft first. We've got flaps 1, speed, we need to reduce the speed a little bit. I don't want to use the gear right now, so I'm going to expand a little bit the speed brake. And 119905. 119, 905. Did it switch? Yeah, it switched. Perfect. All right, bug 5. Now we're gonna go gear down. With gear down, we can do the items. Engine start switches. Speed brake, I will do it later on. Flaps 15. And when we flaps 15, we can bug 15. Now let's contact the tower. Tower hello, Blackbox711 were established on the ILS 25 left at 7 miles. Clear to land 25 left, wind 270 at 5, and the RVR now are above 200 meters. Perfect, we can continue. Great, now when we do a flaps 40 landing, which is recommended by Boeing on the 737 in LVP, just go flaps 25, and with flaps 25 you can bug flaps 25 here. You reduce your speed to bug 25, that's avoid an overspeed, and then we can go flaps 40 and we set our approach speed. So let's have a look at what is my approach speed there. 141 plus 145. All right, now everything is set. We are 1,500 feet. We are stabilized. I just need to arm the speed brake. Now you can see that the aircraft is doing the system check, and we get land 3, all out flare arm. So we can continue the approach. And now the next step will be this 1,000 feet. On 1,000 feet, this will be your gate where you have to perform a go-around. At 1,000 feet as well, we check that we are fully stabilized, and we check as well that we have missed approach altitude set and that the heading match. So now you remember, if we go around, we come straight ahead to the green circle, and then we turn left and we follow basically radial 241. All right, stabilized. We were clear to land. Now we look outside, and first officer look inside, and we are waiting for the runway. 800 feet. Oh, we got no auto land. All right, go around. So toga, flaps 15, check thrust. That's good. We have a positive rate of climb. Gear up. Now we are above 400 feet. LNAV. And you check LNAV is engaged. All right, now look at what the aircraft is doing. You can see that my window is still blank because I'm flying manually. So now I can retract my flaps. I'm flaps 15. So if I go flaps 5 now, you will see that the bug will automatically move to the next one. But if I engage autopilot, I will do it now. If I engage the autopilot, now we revert to MCP speed, and now I have to put myself bug up to clean up the aircraft. So we are flaps 5, so we can go now flaps 1. And we got cockpit go around, stop climb 4,000 feet. Oh, jeez. Stop climb 4,000 feet. Due to traffic and contact director 118505. Okay, 118505 again, and 4,000 feet. All right, 1,000 to level off due to traffic, so make sure you reduce your rate of climb as we have traffic around. So always use vertical speed 1,000. Flaps up, and we contact director. Director, hello again, this is Blackbox711. We are reaching 4,000 feet on the standard go-around. Okay, Blackbox711, follow standard, missed approach, maintain 4,000 feet, traffic 1 o'clock, 747. All right. Oh, yeah, I can see it. Perfect. Alt acquired, 4,000 feet, flaps up, no light. Let's go for after takeoff checklist. So, bing, this stays on, this stays off, 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 anti-ice. We don't need, that's perfect. All right. Here we go. Where's the 747? Let's see if we can spot that 747. I'll just continue that after land. Take off. And where is the 747? 1 o'clock. You can see nothing from there. Let's see if we can spot the 747. I can sit on the TCAS. Ah, right there. It's coming. That is my 747, yeah? Beautiful. Can the passenger see the 747? No, looks like it's too high here. Oh yeah, here. Here's the 747. Perfect. So we get traffic. I have the lights on, the seatbelt sign on. We are waiting just in case we have a resolution advisory. Looks good to me. So no big deal here. Good. We were warned by the ATC anyway. That's very nice. Okay, so now we have to analyze what is the reason. Why did we go around? We went around because we had no auto land right there. So probably now we have to analyze why do we have no auto land. And what do we have here? Blackbox711 latest RVR is 550, 300 and 200 meters. Turn left and proceed direct to Charlie VOR. Okay. Direct to Charlie VOR. So I put it on top here. Execute. We have LNAV. Aircraft is turning left. And what is interesting here is the RVR, 550, 300, and 200 meters. So now, to do a Cat 1 approach, we need 550 meters. So basically, we are good to fly a Cat 1. And we have to check why we cannot fly a Cat 3. All right, so let's continue that. We have no auto land. And let's see why. If I press recall, we have nothing. But if you look there on my first officer's side, that is the reason. We have a radio altimeter failure. And on the 737, if you have only one radio altimeter, you cannot fly Cat 2 and Cat 3, basically. So now we are Cat 1 only. The weather has improved, so I'm expecting to fly now a Cat 1 approach in Frankfurt. Perfect. So let's do that. What I will do is update the box. So we are planning for eventually a Cat 1 approach. So we are going to set ILS 25 left via Charlie. If I look at that, I have Charlie and then let key and the approach. And now you see the 4,000 feet, 4,000 feet. This is why the aircraft will have always a top of climb. So what we need to do is just go to cruise page, change that 5,000 by 4,000 and execute. And now the aircraft knows that we are at cruising altitude. Same thing with the speed. She will fly 230 in VNAV. That's good for me. Approach speed. Now we can go for flaps 30 landing. So I'll put flaps 30, 147. Auto brake. Was good enough. Nav setting is exactly the same. So basically now we can just recall and check that our approach, I will bring you the chart, is correct. So now we are doing a Cat 1 approach. So here we go. Cat 1 approach in Frankfurt. So basically all setup is the same. We just have the minimum, which is 562. You can see it down here, 562. RVR, we need 550. So that's perfect. And the missed approach is exactly the same. So basically we just need to update our minimum to 562 barrow. All right, so let's do that. So we'll go minimum now barrow, and we will go 562. Five. 62. Here we have the minimum. Everything looks good. We've done the after takeoff checklist. We keep the lights on and we are ready for further instructions. Let's hope that we can land. The weather will be at the minimum, so we really have to be precise on flying and be careful. It's gonna be a manual landing. So the risk here is when you disconnect your autopilot, then you have to make sure you keep your center line and you keep your rate of descent, because you will be exactly at the limit of the clouds, and this is very easy to deviate. So be very careful if you disengage the autopilot. Make sure you disengage it when you can perform a safe landing. We will see that. I hope the weather will be good enough. Let's see. Charlie, so for now ETC didn't give us any instruction at all, so that's good. Let's have a look at the fuel. If I go prox page, now you can see that we are going to land in Frankfurt with 3.5 tons. Right now we have 3.7 tons. So we are about to burn 200 until landing. And if I look at my diversion fuel, it's 2 tons. So basically I have 1.5 ton extra on board. So that's good. So now if we press VNav, what's happening again? You see the speed? 280 knots. We don't want this at all. So I go back to altitude hold. I reduce my speed to, let's say, 240 knots for now. And she went 280. All right, so we have to update our FMC. So if I go to descent page, cruise page, I have 280 here. So here what you have to do, and on the aircraft it works without doing this. On the PMDG, what I found, the way to do it is to press, for example, Econ, to put the new speed that you would like right there. Or maybe it was long range cruise. Let me check long range cruise. 240, yeah, 240, and then execute. Now we tell the FMC we want to fly 240 knots. And if I go VNav, then the aircraft will fly 240 knots. Perfect. Good. Now we got another instruction. Blackbox711, fly heading 070. Okay, so always synchronize the heading. You see my bad, because if you press heading, then we will go nowhere but at the right place. So we want 070, so heading cell 070, and check the mode, heading VNav path 4000 feet, turning left, heading 070, and prepare for the ILS Cat 1. Perfect. So we prepare for the ILS Cat 1, so I can update again the FMC, as we are not flying anymore to Charlie. So we'll do exactly the same as before. We will go let key on top. The course is 247, and execute. Again, if you go to descent page, now as we are already at 4000 feet, there is no reason for the aircraft to expect a descent. We are at the right altitude for the next waypoint, so we are good. It means we can accept vectors right away. This is why the page is not showing anything. Perfect. So now we are expecting vectors. The speed 240 knots. So now if you want to reduce the speed, again, either altitude hold, the window open, and I can reduce my speed or increase my speed. If I'm in VNav, I can press speed interval and now reduce my speed. And you can do it from the descent page. Now I have 230 knots. Let's say you'd like 240 knots. Let's say we'd like to fly now 220. Let's see if she will accept it. Not in the descent page because we are still in cruise for her. So we'll go 220 in cruise, execute, and now she reduced the speed. Good. So several ways to reduce the speed on the 737. Now I'm hoping that we get vectors because we are on the downwind, long downwind for runway 25 left. Otherwise everything looks good. So this time if you have to go around, same thing. Go around, Toga, flaps 15 right away, follow the flight director, check the thrust, positive rate, gear up, 400 feet LNAV, and then we clean up the aircraft. Okay, Blackbox711, fly heading 350. Heading 350, that looks like a base turn, perfect. 350, set, acknowledge. Base turn. So that's a good scenario done by Captain Blackbox. It was on the Fenix A320. You can fly it on the Fenix, you can fly it on the PMDG 600, 700, 800 and 900 series. And you can fly it as well on the Maddog MD-82. Available for all these three aircraft. So let's see if we can land. I hope we can land because the weather is barely at the minimum. So if you will fly at night, you are allowed to turn off all lights to make sure to give you a better chance to see the runway. Now we are flying during the day, so it doesn't make a big difference. So we will see. Hopefully we can see the runway. I hope so. So now we're about 10 miles from the runway extension center line. So soon we will get probably vectors to go toward the runway. I have set everything for the approach. We have already the tower frequency pre-selected, so we are very good. We are ready. So now you can see what I was telling you before. We do not get any glide slope indication because we are more than 90 degrees from the 247. So basically up to 337, you will see the glide slope. Right now we don't have it, but if you have the approach mode on the standby, you can see your glide slope indication. All right, what do we get? Direct to let key, Blackbox711. Direct to let key, so let key on top, activate, execute, make sure you press LNAV. We check LNAV captured, and we are going to let key. Perfect. So now we are flying in LNAV and VNAV. The aircraft is flying 220 knots. At some point, she will tell us that it's time to reduce the speed. So should we trust VNAV? Do you trust VNAV? If now we say we will do nothing, we are not going to reduce the speed by ourselves, we will just let VNAV do the job. It's gonna work because it's nicely programmed. If you fly now an ILS, as soon as you go on the glide slope, the window will open and then you have to slow down by yourself. If you will fly a non-precision approach, then she will slow down all the way down to your approach speed. It works perfectly well. So let's see now when she will go up speed, and then I will start with the flaps. Okay, so we are on the intercept to our let key. Everything looks good outside. Let's see what the passengers can see. Not much in this kind of weather. Cannot see much. All right, approaching let key, 5.7 miles. You see now the speed has dropped to up speed. So now it's the signal from the FMC, hey, I need some drag. And she's telling you that we need to descend as well. Perfect. So give her some drag. So if I go flaps 1, you can see that the bug is moving to 1 automatically. And now she's reducing the speed. Now that we have flaps 1 green light, if I go flaps 5, now you can see the bug will reduce to flaps 5. Let's see. Okay, Blackbox711, reduce speed 190 knots, clear ILS to 5 left. Okay, 190 knots. So what we could do is go on the speed interval 190 knots as an ATC constraint. We are clear for the approach. Approach, make sure you have overlock glide slope arm. Now there is no way we can harm the second autopilot. If I do it, she will kick out and we are back on command A. All right, so we are ready for the approach. Speed 190 knots. Everything looks good. We will get a strike, overlock, glide slope captured. Glide slope captured. Set missed approach altitude right away. And synchronize your heading. 247. All right. Perfectly established. That looks good. Going down for a Cat 1 at a minimum of 562. So now when to reduce the speed on the 737 if you are doing a Cat 1 approach. The best thing to do, we have flaps 5. If you have flaps 5, speed 180, you are safe on that aircraft down to 2000 feet radio altimeter. Nothing can happen to you. You'll be stabilized by 1000 feet. So I will show you that now, how easy it is. The best thing to do is go to flaps 5 and a speed at around 180 knots, because 180 knots is a very nice speed to go to your final flaps 30 landing speed of 175. By the time you bring the gear down, you will wash those 5 knots and you can basically configure the aircraft very quickly. So let's see that. We can wait until we have radio altimeter 2000 feet and we continue with the configuration. 2500, contact tower. Here we go, and we have icing in front of us. Let's turn the engine anti-ice and contact the tower. Tower hello, Blackbox711, we are established on the ILS 25, 7 miles. Runway 25 left, clear to land, wind 270 at 5, and the RVR are good for us, acknowledge. Alright, we passed 2000 feet, gear down, we do the items, we are clear to land, so I put my taxi light, engine start switches to continuous, arm the speed brake, and now we will go flaps 15, bug 15. See now, my altitude radio altimeter is 1600 feet, my speed is washing down below the amber line, so I can go flaps 30. And now I can check my landing speed. Again, 146 plus 5, that's 151. And as you can see, there is no rush at all. 151, easy. And we have the flaps 30. We have the speed within 20 knots and reducing, so we are stabilized. And you can see that the altitude is very nice. So landing checklist, engine start switches, continuous, speed brake, arm, landing gear is down, and the flaps 30 green lights. We have 1000 feet on the radio altimeter, we are stabilized, and we have missed approach altitude. So 1000 feet, check that you're stabilized and check that you have the missed approach altitude. If your missed approach altitude will be lower, in case you go around, as soon as you engage autopilot and she go in MCP speed, she will dive to the altitude which is right there. So make sure you set the missed approach altitude. All right, let's concentrate and see if we can see the runway now. It's close to the minimum weather, so I will try my best and see if we can see the runway. Captain Blackbox has done a very tricky weather file here. So let's have a look. I'm ready to take over control if I see the runway. 500 checked. I can see some ground, but that's not good enough to say I have the runway. I need to have the approach light. 400 feet. Oh, approach light inside. Check, continue. Minimum contact, landing. Autopilot off. And now be careful. When you take autopilot off, be very careful. As I told you, this is where the mess can start. Alright, that was long landing. Speed brake up. Reversers normal. And by 80 knots I will stow the reversers and manual braking. 60 knots. Blackbox711 vacate next convenient taxiway to the right. Scenario ends here. Well done. Great. So not very happy about my landing. Just in the touchdown zone. I'm sure I'm gonna get a very bad report from FSiPanel. What to do? See, that's the problem when you fly low visibility. Be extra careful, and I was briefing it. As soon as you go manual, then it is very complicated with the reference that you have, the visual cues. So it's That's why in the lesson plan it says if you can go for an auto land with that kind of weather, just go for an auto land. And if you see the runway like we did, and the aircraft is capable of doing an auto land, just let the aircraft do an auto land. You will do manual landing next time. So let me retract one notch of flaps so FSiPanel does the after landing for me. Normally, if I do that, yeah, FSiPanel is now doing the after landing. So yeah, let her do the auto land, and then you will be safe. As you can see, the weather is not very good for a manual landing. All right, let's have a look at the landing report, and it's a long landing. You see 900 meters is the end of the touchdown zone, so that is in red. It's way too long, way too long. So I could have gone around a second time. As I saw the end of the touchdown zone, I decided to land. My first officer in a real aircraft could have called for a go around, and then I will have to go around, of course. So that's something as well. If you see that you are getting behind the 900 meters, behind the last bar of the touchdown zone, then you have to go around. All right, so just go around and try it again. That's just within limit, but it's still considered as a good landing. Otherwise, I was on the center line. Who cares? You know what I want to tell you is you can do a very nice landing, very good on the center line, but it's long. It's a bad landing. That's it. All right, so that was it. I will have to practice a little bit that landing in low visibility. And before I forget, please subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you soon again for another training video on FSiPanel. Take good care, and I'm looking forward for your feedback on that training scenario by Capt Blackbox. All right, see you soon, guys. Stay safe. Bye-bye.